Most people earn a paycheck, pay their bills, spend what's left, and then wonder at the end of the month where it all went. There's no mystery to it. The money didn't disappear. It just didn't have a plan. And that's the real problem. It's not that people don't earn enough. It's that without a clear system, even a solid income can quietly bleed out through 100 small, untracked decisions. Today we're fixing that. We're breaking down one of the most straightforward, most effective budgeting frameworks ever developed, the 50-30-20 rule.
That's where the 50-30-20 rule comes in.
The 50-30-20 rule?
The 50-30-20 rule.
The 50-30-20 rule is one of the most common budgeting rules out there.
No complicated spreadsheets, no financial degree required, just a clean, logical structure that tells every dollar you earn exactly where it needs to go. Let's get into it. What is the 50-30-20 rule? The concept is simple. You take your monthly after-tax income, your net pay, the actual number that lands in your bank account, and you divide it into 3 distinct categories. 50% goes toward your needs, 30% goes toward your wants, 20% goes toward savings or paying off debt. That's it. 3 buckets, 1 rule. And if you can consistently direct your money according to those 3 proportions, you will be in better financial shape than the vast majority of people around you. Not because you're earning more, but because you're managing what you have with intention. Now let's go deeper, because the real value isn't in knowing the percentages. It's in understanding exactly what belongs in each category, and why the lines between them matter more than most people realize. The 50%? Needs. Half of your after-tax income is allocated to needs. This is the non-negotiable half. These are the expenses that keep your life functioning, the ones that, if removed, would cause serious disruption or genuine hardship. Think about housing first. Whether you're paying a mortgage or renting, your accommodation costs fall here. This is typically the largest single item in anyone's budget, and for good reason. Shelter is foundational. Next comes food, not dining out, not weekend brunches. Groceries, the basic cost of feeding yourself and your household. Utilities fall into this category as well. Electricity, water, heating, internet, the infrastructure that keeps a modern home running. Transportation is another need, but with an important distinction. Getting yourself to work reliably is a need. The car payment on a vehicle that's significantly above your means is a choice. We'll come back to that distinction. Health insurance belongs here too. If you have it through your employer, the premium deducted from your paycheck counts toward this 50%. If you're self-employed or purchasing it independently, it still lives in the needs bucket. The cost of protecting your physical health is not optional. Minimum debt repayments on student loans, car loans, or any obligation you're contractually required to meet also count as needs. You don't have the option to simply stop paying them, so they belong in this half of your budget. Here's the critical discipline with needs. The target is 50%, not 60%, not 70%. If your needs are consuming more than half your income, that is the first problem to solve. It usually means either your housing costs are too high, your transportation is overextended, or your lifestyle has quietly expanded beyond what your income can comfortably support. The 50% ceiling forces you to confront that reality directly. The 30%, wants. This is where most people lose the plot. Not because they spend too much on wants, but because they've quietly reclassified their wants as needs and never noticed. Wants are everything that improves your quality of life, but isn't required for your basic survival and stability. They are the things you would genuinely miss if they were gone, but that wouldn't constitute a crisis if removed. Understanding this distinction is one of the most financially clarifying exercises you can do. Dining out is a want. Cooking at home meets the need. Going to a restaurant one night, whether it's a casual lunch or a dinner out on the weekend, is a choice that enhances your life. There's nothing wrong with it. It belongs in the 30%, and it can stay there as long as it fits. Streaming services, the multiple subscriptions that accumulate quietly in the background, are wants. Entertainment in general is a want. Shopping beyond necessity is a want. The upgrade from a functional phone to the latest model is a want. Travel and holidays are wants. Gym memberships, hobbies, the coffee shop you stop at every morning, all of it lives here. Notice that none of these things are bad. The 50-30-20 rule is not a system of deprivation. It's a system of clarity. It says you have 30% of your income to spend on things that bring you pleasure, comfort, and enjoyment. Use it deliberately. Spend it on what actually matters to you, and stop spending it on things you barely notice. That last part is where people lose real money. Not on big, intentional purchases, but on the accumulated weight of subscriptions never canceled, habits never examined, and convenience spending that happens on autopilot. The 30% allocation forces you to audit your lifestyle and decide consciously what earns its place. One more thing. If something is stretching your needs budget, look to your wants first before concluding the problem is your income. In most cases, the budget is leaking. Not insufficient. The 20%. Savings and debt. This is the category that separates people who build wealth from people who simply earn it. 20% of your after-tax income, directed consistently towards savings and debt reduction, is the mechanism through which financial security is actually constructed. Let's break down what belongs here. The first priority, before almost anything else, is an emergency fund. This is 3 to 6 months of living expenses held in a liquid, accessible account. Not invested, not locked away, just available. Why does this matter so much? Because life is unpredictable. A sudden job loss, a medical expense, a car repair that can't wait. Without an emergency fund, any one of these events pushes you into debt. With one, they become inconveniences rather than crises. If you don't have an emergency fund yet, the 20% starts here and it stays here until that foundation is built. Once your emergency fund is in place, debt repayment becomes the next focus. Specifically, high-interest debt. Credit cards are the most common and the most damaging. If you're carrying a balance at 18 to 25% annual interest, every month you don't eliminate it costs you real money. The minimum payment keeps you compliant. The 20% allocation is what actually gets you free. There are two well-known approaches to debt repayment. The debt avalanche method directs your extra payments toward the highest interest rate debt first, minimizing the total interest you pay over time. The debt snowball method targets the smallest balance first, eliminating accounts one by one and building psychological momentum. Both work. The best one is whichever you'll actually stick to. After high-interest debt is cleared, the 20% shifts toward retirement savings. And this is the area where the gap between intention and action is most costly, because the longer you delay, the more expensive that delay becomes. Retirement savings aren't just about setting money aside. They're about harnessing compound growth over time. Every year you defer is a year of compounding you cannot recover. If your employer offers a retirement account with a matching contribution, that match is the single highest guaranteed return available to you. A 100% match on your contribution, which many employers offer up to a certain percentage, is a 100% immediate return before a single investment decision is made. Capturing that fully should be among the very first things your 20% does. Beyond retirement, this final bucket can also accommodate other long-term goals. Saving for a property, building an investment portfolio, creating a college fund. Any form of deliberate, future-oriented accumulation lives here. Putting it into practice. Let's make this concrete. Say your after-tax monthly income is $4,000. Under the 50-30-20 rule, $2,000 goes to needs, $1,200 goes to wants, and $800 goes to savings and debt. Start by tracking what you're currently spending in each category. Most people, when they do this exercise honestly for the first time, are surprised, not by one large problem, but by dozens of small ones. The $15 subscription they forgot about, the dining spend that's actually double what they estimated, the wants that have migrated into the needs column without anyone signing off on it. The goal of the first month isn't perfection, it's awareness. Once you know where your money is actually going, you can begin redirecting it toward where you want it to go. A few practical principles to keep in mind as you implement this. Automate wherever possible. If the 20% savings contribution comes out of your account automatically on payday, you will never miss it, because you never had access to it in the first place. Automation removes the need for willpower, and willpower is an unreliable budgeting tool. your wants spending. It's an opportunity to accelerate your savings rate, eliminate debt faster, or invest more aggressively. Let your financial position improve before your lifestyle does. And finally, be honest with yourself about the needs versus wants distinction. It's easy to rationalize. A car you can't quite afford becomes, I need reliable transportation. A premium apartment becomes, location is important for work. These rationalizations are the enemy of a functional budget. The question isn't whether something is enjoyable or reasonable. It's whether it's genuinely a need or a want you've decided is worth the cost. Why this rule works. The 50-30-20 rule has endured because it's built on a principle that is difficult to argue with. Structure creates freedom. When your money has a plan, you stop second-guessing every purchase. You stop feeling vaguely anxious about your finances without being able to identify why. You stop reaching the end of the month confused about where everything went. You know exactly what you have available in each category, and within that allocation you can spend freely. On wants, on experiences, on the things that make your life enjoyable. Without guilt and without risk. Most financial stress doesn't come from not having enough money. It comes from not having clarity about the money you do have. The 50-30-20 rule provides that clarity. It's not a ceiling on your ambitions, it's a floor beneath your feet. Start with your next paycheck. Calculate your 3 numbers. Look honestly at where your money is currently going. Identify the gaps and begin closing them, not all at once, but consistently, with intention. That's how financial stability is built, not through windfalls, not through luck, through a simple system applied with discipline over time. The rule is straightforward. The discipline is where it gets interesting, and the results, for those who commit to it, are genuinely life-changing.